When life breaks you down, the instinct is to look outward and find an enemy. You stand at the edge of a massive challenge, and the first question that hits you is, who or what is doing this to me? Psychologists call this an external locus of control. It is our brain's default defense mechanism. When facing personal defeat, it feels much safer to blame the economy, a toxic boss, or just pure bad luck, rather than examining our own actions. But pouring your energy into those external enemies sets a trap. You are directing your absolute best efforts toward factors that operate entirely outside of your command. Think about the moments when everything seems to collapse at once. The environment around you suddenly turns hostile, and you find yourself standing in the wreckage of your own plans. You are getting hit by variables you cannot predict. A market crashes, wiping out your savings. A sudden wave of rejection letters floods your inbox. The structural pillars of your daily life simply give way. This diagram illustrates how the external locus of control fails us. The central circle is your human agency, your ability to act. The arrows represent incoming external stressors. As attention fixes on them, agency drains. Notice how the arrows loop and constrict. Resisting uncontrollable events creates a psychological feedback loop. Fighting external reality accelerates your feelings of helplessness. You are essentially trying to punch a hurricane. It exhausts your emotional and physical reserves, but the weather remains exactly the same. To survive a total collapse of external circumstances, you have to abandon that outward fight. You must relocate the battlefield to the one space where you possess absolute authority. The shift begins in the dark. An alarm cuts through the silence hours before dawn. This exact second, the physical act of getting out of bed, when every instinct begs you to stay, is the moment agency is reclaimed. This is a pivot toward internal inputs. True transformation requires a total withdrawal of attention from the chaotic outside world. You stop worrying about what the market is doing, and you start measuring exactly what you are doing. Look at this chart mapping psychological volatility. When a barrier blocks outside interference, the chaotic fluctuations instantly stabilize into a steady growth curve. This trajectory accounts for every session of physical exercise, intense study, and goals written while the world sleeps. Executing these tasks while the rest of the world sleeps provides a massive strategic advantage. In that absolute isolation, there are no emails, no news alerts, and no competing voices to drain your focus. Adhering to a punishing morning routine is a highly calculated move. It is the mechanical, repeatable reclamation of Hingen agency over your own life. Zoom out and you see months of this compounding effort. It is a grueling, unglamorous physical reality. Sweat, repetition, and exhausted muscles become the baseline. As these repetitions stack over 90 days, the strain ceases to be a shock. The body and mind begin to anticipate the load, rewiring neural pathways to handle the output more efficiently. What began as a desperate struggle matures into a predictable, high-performance rhythm. This process identifies the primary obstacle, the recurring urge to seek comfort. The snooze button and the path of least resistance are more dangerous to your progress than any external rejection letter could ever be. By systematically denying that urge to quit, day after day, you build a thick psychological callus. You train your brain to endure discomfort, effectively bulletproofing your mind against future panic. Any external physical transformation you see in the mirror is merely a byproduct of this deep internal mental fortification. Daily discipline is an active mathematical process. You aggressively expand the strength of your internal self, which proportionately shrinks the influence the external world has over you. The journey eventually leads right back to where we started. Now, as he reaches the peak at sunrise, there is absolute internal peace. This brings us to the paradox of the summit. Reaching the top of the mountain physically does not miraculously fix a bank account. It does not erase a single past failure or rejection. The external world remains exactly as harsh and unpredictable as it was during his initial moments of panic. The difference is that those pressures now meet a structure hardened by months of deliberate friction. His capacity to absorb the impact has been recalibrated. True resilience is established when your internal foundation is so robust that external challenges bounce off. They simply lose their power to inflict psychological damage. If you want to live beyond the cycle of struggle, there is a clear directive. You have to abandon the futile quest to conquer the world and direct every ounce of your energy toward conquering the person in the mirror. Because in the end, the greatest victory is over yourself. The outside noise will never stop, but the internal battlefield is the only domain where you can truly win.